A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house. Someone had put up a chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it. My brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up. I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms. Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know, or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back. The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent, as if they're about to say something but never do. フィンチ家の奇妙ななんたらっていう名前忘れちゃった面白そうだったからなんかねライブラリーにあったバスケやってたのかな。さてあっちの道も見てきていいわかんない外
時って書いてた気がするけど、確かでもちょっと怖いよね、なんかジャンプはなにほう、あ、家系図かこれ。丸が×か、×も×か。あ、ちょっと待って。R1 が丸。カメラコントロール。クロスヘア。なんでクロスヘアがあるの？あ、ちょ。×も丸？×も丸か。クロスヘアが出た。
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
全ての道って暮らしにゲットした。走れないのかな。これで戻っていったね。よし、行こう。セーブで、ちょっと、ね、雰囲気怖いよね。ボタンはそのままか。ちょっとホラーだったらどうしよう。ライブラリーに入ってた。でもどっかの時にプラス入ってて人無料だったんだと思う。なんもないのかな。なんもそれだな。いける、あ、いけなかった。
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. I asked Edie once about the dragon in the pond. She said it had killed her husband. I was 6. It seemed like an odd joke to me, even then.
旦那さんがそのドラゴンに殺されたって書いてあったよね。よく見えなかった。
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
怖いよね、この家ちょっと。音がリアル。なんか落ちてる。あ、こんな服を着てるんですね。あ、谷間が。メッシング。ああ、いなくなったってことですか。もう水の音がリアル。資料がいっぱいある。開いちゃうの？
I hoped the key might unlock the front door, it didn't.
あ、よかった。
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
あ、でもそんな怖くなさそうな家。なんか音がする。あー、懐かしい。あったあった、こういうの昔住んでたとこに。何この穴。奥に道
The
がある。
house felt like it had always
何
been
何何
here.
ど
Even
こ
the
で喋っ
swing
てる？
set was older than my mother.
え、待って、どこで喋ったの？あ、あそこで喋ってたんかな。うわー、見逃した。いいかな。こっちだね。
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
怖いよ。何これ、冷凍庫か。どういうゲームなのこれ。
For the first time in years,
2010年の1月。あ、これ名前だよね。エリー・ダウンルイスかな。ミルトン、エリス。あ、やっぱそうだよね、人の名前だ。あ、間違った間違った。どうやって戻るんだっけ。
I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
これが主人公か。この人、この人。あー、やめません。ルイス、わからん。これなんだ。
Like how only one restaurant would deliver to our house, so we had Chinese a lot.
なるほど、ちっちゃい丸がなんかあるのか。なんか覚えてる。ね、怖いって。そういう系のゲームじゃないといいけど。
Or how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
なるほどね。鮭がいっぱい。
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
何の音？
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
こっからは開けられない。ダメか。
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
あの夜のこんな。
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library. あー、ガッチガチ。これはここは開けられない。ここもダメ。あ、おばあちゃんが使ってたのかな。 great-grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
家の他の部分も作った？どういうことだろう。
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
早い。これ何回でもいける？あ、はい。バイオリン。
Even the fireplace had a story.
どこ？
Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
じゃあこの絵は全部お話ってこと？何これ？やめん。文字がかすれて読めません。テレビはつかない。つかない。何したらいいんだろう。
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. My mom was the only one. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
ここもう読めないの？かぶったって。これさっきのとこか。ちっちゃい子が、これ主人公か。調べ終わったかな。よし、じゃあ2回行こう。ここ見たもんね。見たね。
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
その寝室を見たくてってことか。力調べよう。
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
ここだけは封じなかったんだ。すごいね。
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
どこね、どこで喋ったん？これか。秘密の通路があると言ってうんちゃらかんちゃらっつった。開いた。
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
ちょっとこっち話進んじゃう。後にしよう。これが覗き穴か。
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
死んだ人の話を聞いて仲良くなれそうだったって感じかな。本当だ、もう全部閉じてあるね。
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin. As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of. The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait. Whenever people ask me about my family, The first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
なんで？上がある。
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
なんだろうこれ。線が伸びてる。そっからか。Barbara.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
あ、なるほどね。だからみんな知りたがるのか。
Edie's father Odin built the original house.
じゃあこれがバーバラさんかな。あ、そうだ。そうだね。よし、行こうか。
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan.
これ猫だよね。で、ビルトンがお兄さんだよね。どっか行っちゃった。
But I had no idea what was behind that door.
なんかフィンチ家の奇妙な家だったかなみたいな。
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
これどういう系のゲームかよくわかんないんですよね。ライブラリーに入
I
ってる
grew
か
up
な。
looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
ライブラリー
Molly's
に入って
gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
ここからはもう開けれないの。
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
すごい。何かな。人でレディー&セブン。これカレンダー違う。12月だ。玄関は1月だったよね。2010年。
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
うわ、食べた。これモーリーちゃんの視点だよね。これ調べられない。
My Halloween candy was all gone.
どっちから行けばいいの？ちょっと待って。1947年の12月に今いると。こっちは開かないのかな。
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
夕食食べてないから腹が減ったと。ここがトイレ。
I kept eating and eating.
それも食べちゃうの？マジで？いくらお腹が空いたとはいえ、歯磨き粉を食べるのは感心しない。
I ate a lot of things that night.
これ飾りだよね。本物？ マジ？なんかぴよぴよ言ってる。
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
今ね、もしかして
It
だ
was a
けど
barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
あー
And suddenly,
これ
I was a cat.
ほうどこ行けばいいの？
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
こっちかな。ゆっくり行くってこと？てか猫ってあれだよね、ミルトンが描いた。
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
どこ行けばいいの？あれか。
I jumped and I almost got her.
すごい。何ここ？
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
あ、すごい。何あれ？なんだ、いろいろ見える。すごい。超林。
I gobbled her up,
これ食べるの早っ。
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
どこに行けばいいのこれ？どこに行けばいいの？ちょっと待って、わかんない。どこに行けばいいんでしょう。
Rabbits.
ウサギ？どこにウサギいた？あ、あれか。これをかける。あ、本当だ。いっぱいいる。どこに行けばいいんだい？お腹空いてるんだよね。あ、そういうことか。
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
夕食食べなかっただけでこんなことになってしまう。
A mama rabbit. She almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
わい。泳げなくない？落ちてたけど。あ、跳ねてきた。なるほどね。
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean.
あ、取れるかと思った。
Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
出てるね。
I grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. I was big, but I mean real wild.
これを食べればいい。いたいたいたいた。そういうことかな。
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And to cross the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe. I got closer and closer.
なんか上にあったんだって。上にまあいいか、諦めよう。 モリーちゃんの家だよね。
All my stomach started growling.
自分を食べる的な。
And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be, and we both know I will be delicious.
わあ。結局食べられちゃったのかな。
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
あ、猫を追いかけるの。
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
モーリーが死んじゃって猫を飼ってモーリーってなってきたのかな。
I spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room. We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
ちょっと待って、もっとあさりたい。
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
これ読み上げた方がいい
Her
かな。
room was like a museum.
水の部屋博物館みたいな感じがした。
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan.
お読めない。それは妻のインゲボルグと生まれたばかりの息子のヨハン。
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in a new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
彼の娘エディはすでに新しいフィンチ家の屋敷を夢見ていた。500年にわたりノルウェー中でその富と不運から富と不運からフィンチ家は有名だった。オーディン・フィンチが一族の呪いにかかった一番最初のうちの一周したね。あ、一周したね。
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
それはえらく昔から続いている。開かないか。じゃあトイレ行こう。何これ。だってさっき食べたお雑煮がねまだお腹に残ってて気持ち悪い。 すごい面白い。何これ、面白い。ふかふかしてる。
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
あ、こういう系のやつに鍵が開くんか。これってまた隠し扉的なやつじゃないか。
There's a secret in this bathroom.
秘密が隠され
It's
て
in
る。
the last place you would look.
それは誰もが普通は考えて
It isn't in the cupboard.
戸棚の中にあるわけじゃない。
It's hidden in this book.
隠されているのはこの本の中。Why? 待って、いっちゃうの？待って、探索終わってない。
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished.
自分で修理した
He never put it down.
サマはそれを肌身離さず使った。ちょっと一回戻って。すごいね、こういう作りの家。楽しそう。あ、開かないのか。そっかそっか。じゃあいいや。でも逆にちょっと怖いよね。楽しそうだけど。あ、現像機か。すごい。あ、これさっきのとこのあれじゃん。入り口のね。見れたん？ここも現像？何これ？カマンドセンター？コモンドセンター？スペース。ちっちゃい子の部屋かな。エクスプローのなんたら。
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
そのおじちゃんに双子の兄弟がいたのは知ってた。ああ、なるほどね。フォートサム、フォートカルビン。ああ、2人の部屋か。へえ、面白い作りが。ああ、死んじゃう。なんで途中で止まってんだろう。カルビンは死んじゃったとか。
And that he never talked about him.
誰も彼のことを話さないの。
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
同じようにその辺りの歴史が嫌いだったんだろう。本ちっちゃ。
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did.
嫌いなんだ。どこまでゴミがいいの？あ、どうも。
久しぶりだね、ハニ
ー。なんすか？
こんにちは。ありがとうございます。
あ、赤瀬さんどうもおめでとうございます。
ちょっとここ違うパーティージェットなんで、昴生さん抜けてもらえませんか？さやかだよ。
間違った情報が。 G コンですか？頑張ってください。なんて書いてあるの？なんて書いてあるの？足。何すればいいのこれ。いなくいくのでこなあは。何すればいいの？マジでわからない。あはくんで。何すればいいの？
やっと二人っきりになれたね。そうやね。
なんで帰ってきたんですか？
ちょっとパーティーチャットなくてさ。
はい。
帰ってきちゃった。
作ればいいじゃないですか。今放送中っすよ。
え？
今放送中っすよ。さっきいなくなりましたよ。これ何すればいいんだろう。マジでわからん。誰かちょっと助けて。まだ足になんて書いてる？何すればいいの？止めればいいんかな？こげばいいの？止めればいいんかな？なんて書いてるの？あはくへいなあはくそ何すればいいの？一回も全然動かんし。あ、動いた。あ、そういうことか。理解。
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
飛べばいいの？
I told him going around was
テレビと
impossible.
一周するのは無理だと言ったの。
Maybe if I hadn't said that,
させるってことだと言ってなかった。
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
一周した。怖い、これがちょっと。あー
The day he made up his mind to fly, and he did.
ちょっと。
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
あれか、宇宙飛行士になりたかったから空を飛びたかったみたいな感じかな。それで
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
部屋の半分カルビン側立ち入り禁止にした。ああ、なるほど。 面白い。めっちゃ仕掛けあるやん。
The passages were a pretty tight fit.
道はきつくできていた。
They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
と周りに合わせてうんたらかんたら読めなかったよ。どっち行ったらいいんだろう。先こっち行こう。あ、中継地点だ。なるほどね。
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
バラが役スターってイメージがいつもあった。
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her
ど
afterwards.
んな風に辛かったかなんて考えたことはなかった。
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
でエディがこれを取っておいたのは驚いた。バーバラ・フィンチの驚くべき。
Oh, Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
怖い。ひひ。
Fridge rattled.
テレビでそこがガタガタ揺れて静かになった。言って細かまってくれたから怖くなかった。
Rick? Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out. But she
彼は
kept
追い
a
出
little
したが
something
思
to
い出の
remember
品をもら
him
っておくこと
by.
にした。
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
ババラ
And
も
she was
片方
still
の
holding it
深夜の
when
テレ
she
ビ番
fell
組を見
asleep
ながら寝かけても
watching the
彼女
late,
はま
late
たそれを
action
抱えてい
show.
た。
Hours later,
3時間が過ぎ。
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there?
どうしたの？
Okay, I'm
分
coming
かった、
up.
今行こ
But
う。
if this is a trick,
で
you're
もそれ
dead,
が悪ふ
Walter.
ざけなら承知しないわよ。びっくりした。なんだよもう。まだなんかこんなんだったっけ？ハロウィンだからかな。おー。あー。ハロウィンだから。こっちだっけ？
Walter, are you there?
誰かあそこにいるの？で、こっちは？こっちは別に。
Walter
ハルさん
vanished,
は消えていた。
but his bedside
しかし部屋の
radio
ラジオは
was
ついて
still
なか
on.
った。
Orcas Island police described the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hookman, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
実に怖かった。
And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
手道があるはずだ。
That night, she played her part beautifully.
それにどこにいいんだっけあと。道がわかんない。こっちだ。
She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it. Ollie's door hadn't opened in years. The hinges grow.
後ろから殴れと。
He wasn't moving,
彼は分からなか
but
っ
she
た。
sensed the story might not be over yet. The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... Someone at the door, dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
dear.
なんてこと？
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending. I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box. It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key. Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot. I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can. I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
母さんはおそらく私を守ろうとしてくれたので聞いててたのみたいな。確かに。上で聞こえたあの音はこれだったんだね。
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
嫌われたみたいになると思ったのかもしれない。
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house,
でも家の下にいるおじさんのことを教えてはくれなかった。
I can only imagine what else she was
彼
hiding.
は何を隠していたのかを確認してない。
I don't want to make the same mistakes she
彼
made,
女と同じ過ちは繰り返したくない。
trying to bury something
まだ
that's
生きて
still
いる
alive.
ものをうずめてしまうことは。
Now that there's only one of us left,
今となっては
maybe
残る
two.
のは一人、ひょっとすると二人。
I thought it was time I heard the
それぞれの
stories
ス
for
トーリーを
myself
自ら紐解く時が来たと思った。
and found out what happened to everyone
別
else.
の他のみんなに何があったのか知る時がある。
But now I'm worried the stories themselves
こ
might
う
be
して
the
みるとスト
problem.
ーリー自体が問題な気もする。
Maybe we believed so much in a family
私た
curse.
ちはもしかしたら一族に
We made it
かかる
real.
信じたなりにそれを現実にしてしまったのよ。 どこ行けばいいの？
I don't know if I should even be writing
こ
this.
れを書くとさえやめた方がいいのかもしれない。
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
共にこれらの話すべて死んでしまったの。どうして戻ってく
But
る
I
の？
thought you should know about your family.
でもあなたに家族のことを知ってほしかった。私から。
And the history you're a part
であ
of.
なたがその一部となる歴史を。 なんかあるよね。ああ、びっくりした。あれ気になる。はしごみたいなの。
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's
出て
worth.
きた人たちは各々のストーリーを信じてた。くら。しょうがねえや。よっこいしょ。
And when you look at the house,
そしてこの屋敷はまだ
that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
中のどれもあり得るように思える。ここあれだよね。ブランコ。どこ行けばいいの？帰ってきちゃったけど。ああ、なるほどね。ここは開けられないの？暗くて見えない。ちょっと明るくしよう。あ、間違った。ちょっと明るくしすぎたか。いいか、これで。よし。
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one.
あ、ここを先に建てたんだ。先にこう、めっちゃいろいろ買ってる。
3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
ネズミのうち3匹のは私ので、2匹は私のせいだった。バービー、チャービー、ラッキー、デイジー、ココ。
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
家を建てたのはセブンだけど、土地を建てたのは読めなかった。お、何これ、すごい。面白い。
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night. Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
最後についたとこじゃん。これ。そうだね。
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
2週目だから来ようとは思わなかっただろう。妊娠するんかーい。妊娠してんなら来るなよ。ダメでしょ、きちゃん。これかないね。これか。
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
カーデとお母さんは似ていたと思う。これか。
They were both pretty intense.
二人とも真剣な性格だった。
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
何か怖いものがあったのだろう。
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
写真がいっぱい。誰
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are going to last a lifetime.
Hmm? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
ああ、びっくり。
Not quite.
ちょっと待ってよ。
What?
え
Perfect.
完璧だ。
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
Did you want to get a picture of me or what? Come on already.
早くしてったら眩しい。
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
ヒントがあったところで撮れてるんだよね。
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
何を撮るの？これ撮ればいいの？何を撮ればいいの？あ、これか。
Aw.
何を撮るんだ？これじゃないの？何を撮ればいいの？なんだ？何を撮るんだ？ ああ。何撮るの？これじゃないの？何？ からん。ここにいた鳥がここに飛んでったんでしょ。これじゃないの？マジわからんわ。
Should not have drunk all that coffee.
これか。
Nothing quite like being outside.
どこで喋ってるの？
Oop.
あ、こ
A
れ
little
か。
more gas in the tank, I guess.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I definitely won't be moving.
Are you done yet?
Does it sound like I'm done? Hey!
That's a keeper.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to... Don, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? You don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map. Let's see. Maybe. Or was it? Could have been. Good eyes, Don. 時間かかるなこれ。 Before you take the shot, let me get a picture.
前が映る。
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Dawn. Just gotta reset the timer.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
死んじゃったおじいちゃん。どこ行けばいいんだろう。これか。何これ。あ、電気のあれか。
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
サムが亡くなってから母さんとエディは近しくなった。二人とも多く離れてしまったから。グレーゴリーダウン。ガス？なんでここだけなんもないんだろうね。
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
想像できないけど。あ、次ここかな。なんだろうこれ。ここもありそうだけどな。あ、なんかある。 戻すなバカ。
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
いい子ね、ちょっと待って。これあれかな、ピンクのこれかな。もしもし。
Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
何を見ていたの？
I
どんな感じだったか。
You reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
増えてきてる。むずっ。はい。あ、それか。難しい。
I know how silly it sounds.
バカらしく聞こえるのがね。
That I worried about a baby being too happy.
幸せすぎるって心配をするの。
But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
どういうこと？よくわかんない。溺れたってことかな。
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom or the words that I know.
To make his bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had rudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
今日なんかやるんすか?
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
了解。一旦抜けるね。
はい。
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
私は建築する家を建築するプロジェクトに参加していて、私の父がサンジェイに行ったかな。読めなかった。これか。
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good, almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
出てきていいでは嬉しかったのだろう。上手だね。すごい、どうやって登ってんだろうこれ。まだ上あるんかーい。
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush. I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
消えた時私は4歳だった。じゃあよく分かんなかった。もう一回見たいんだけど。絵で描いてた筆が落ちてきて、それ拾ってドアを描いてどっか行った。
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
そしてドアを封じた。
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
母さんはそれを封じ込めようとしてた。
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to... wander.
ああ、なるほどね。
I asked him to describe it.
6つこれ。選択してくださいと頼むと。
He said he started
小さな
small,
ところから始まるんだ。
imagining a labyrinth.
迷宮を
He'd feel his way about.
周りを探して。
Then something moved. Bats and toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Tokyo. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannon. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who had insisted on inviting him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
あとはエデンか。エデンとダウン。
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sold the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you. But there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
残りの部分はかなり迅速に起こり始めた。
She got better for a
少し
while,
の間良くなると
and then she didn't.
すぐ悪くなって
And then I was alone.
そして私は一人になっ
The last Finch left
た。
alive.
事件の最後の生き残り
Until I found out about you.
あなたのことを知るまでは
I'm still not sure what to tell you
あ
about
な
all
たに何を
this.
伝えるべきかまだよくわからない。
If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand
永遠に
things.
していたらいろいろ理解する
But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes
ぐらいしかできない。
and appreciate how strange and brief all of this
人
is.
は儚さを理解することぐらいしか。
This journal was supposed to be for you,
この日、日誌はあなたのためのはずだった。
but now I hope you'll never see it.
でも今はこれを見つけてほしいとは思わない。
I just want to meet you
ただあなたに会いたい。
and tell you all these stories myself.
そしてこれからの物語を自分で伝えたい。
But I guess if you're reading this now,
でも考えるに
things
も
didn't work out that way.
私の願いを叶えたってことね。早いよ。
This is where your story
こ
begins.
れがあなたのストーリー。
I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone.
私がいないこと
I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
どういうこと？エディスの息子さんか。あ、エディスの息子さんか。妊娠するって言ったんだよね。新しくなってる。続いていくよみたいな感じ。終わらないみたいな。なんかね、よくわかんなかったかな、これで。ありがとう、ヨハン。どういうこと？ 喋り疲れた。読むのが疲れる。ちょうど2時間で終わった。ちょうどじゃねえ、約。なんかあれだね、本をゲームにしましたみたいな感じだった。ストーリーをリプレイするエピソードとか。ああ、なるほどね。オッケー。これどうすればいいの？戻ってきた。終わりました。あ、炎持ってる。最初から持ってた。
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning.
じゃあ終わります。終わったから終わりよ。また始まっちゃった。おしまい。